The stars had always fascinated Kieran Drake, but tonight they seemed unusually close, almost tangible, as he trudged along the worn path leading to the communications outpost on the edge of Kepler-17's frontier colony. The night was cold, and a thin mist clung to the ground, swirling around his boots. Kieran was no stranger to the strange and unexpected. Working as a planetary messenger meant carrying sensitive information across dangerous terrain, often traveling alone. Yet even he felt a shiver of unease as he approached the top of the ridge where the outpost stood, its antennas glinting faintly under the alien moonlight. He had been summoned here for a single crucial task: deliver a message to the visiting delegation from the Arethi Empire, a civilization humans barely understood. These were beings of light and subtle power, capable of influencing minds and bending perception, whose customs were as intricate as they were unfathomable. Kieran had spent months preparing, memorizing protocols, and understanding the hierarchy of the Arethi, but nothing could have truly prepared him for what he was about to face. The communications hall was vast, with a smooth obsidian floor that reflected the faint luminescence from hovering light spheres. Kieran's footsteps echoed unnaturally, making him self-conscious. As he entered, he saw the delegation waiting, arranged in a semicircle. Their presence was commanding yet otherworldly. Some floated slightly above the floor, others shimmered as if composed of liquid crystal. At the center, however, was the figure he had been warned about, the Arethi princess, Lyriel. Her form was radiant, almost translucent, and her eyes glimmered with colors that humans couldn't name, shifting subtly with each blink. The air around her seemed to vibrate with quiet authority. Kieran approached slowly, holding the sealed data capsule containing the message he was entrusted with. His voice caught slightly as he spoke. "Your Highness, I bring a communication from the Human Council. It's confidential." Lyriel's gaze fixed on him. She spoke softly, but every word seemed to resonate in his chest. "Human messenger," she said, her accent both musical and alien. "You have crossed great distances for this alone." Kieran swallowed nervously. "Yes, Your Highness, it's my duty." She studied him for a long moment, her shifting gaze giving him an unsettling sense that she could see into the very fibers of his thoughts. "Duty," she repeated, almost as if testing the word on her tongue. Few humans understand the weight of that word in our realm. Few humans embody it without hesitation. He handed her the data capsule. Her fingers brushed his briefly. Warm, yet impossibly light. Kieran felt a jolt, not painful but deeply disorienting, as if her touch had awakened 1,000 dormant synapses in his mind. Lyriel tilted her head and smiled faintly, a gesture so subtle it was almost imperceptible. "You are different," she murmured, more to herself than to him. As she turned to read the contents of the capsule, the hall remained silent, every other delegate observing, yet giving no interference. Kieran shifted on his feet, feeling increasingly out of place. Then, just as she finished reading, she turned back toward him. Her expression was unreadable, but her voice had softened. "Messenger, I am about to leave for the Arethi capital. The journey will be long, and danger will follow. I would ask something unusual of you." Kieran blinked. "Of me, Your Highness?" "Yes," she said, stepping closer, the air around her glowing faintly with bioluminescent energy. "Stay by my side tonight. Just tonight. It is requested by the Council of Shadows that I travel with someone who understands human risk, who can navigate uncertainty. That will be you." Her words were calm but carried a weight that made it impossible to refuse. "Stay by my side tonight," she repeated, her violet eyes locking on his. Kieran's heart raced. His training had never included situations like this. I don't know if I..." "Do not think," Lyriel interrupted gently. "The night is long, and decisions must be made quickly. Trust in your instincts." Her hand hovered slightly, inviting him to step closer. Kieran obeyed, almost on autopilot. They left the hall together, stepping into the cool night. Outside, the mists had thickened, curling around the outpost in shifting patterns that almost seemed alive. Lyriel moved with elegance and grace, but Kieran struggled to keep pace on the slick ground. The delegates had not accompanied them. For reasons he didn't yet understand, this was their private journey. As they walked, Lariel began to speak softly, not about her mission, but about the Arathi people, their culture, their expectations, and the subtle dangers of the galaxy beyond the human colonies. Kieran listened intently, absorbing every detail. Her knowledge was vast, precise, and yet tinged with a personal warmth that made it feel accessible. The galaxy is not uniform, she explained. Power and influence shift like tides. Those who misread the currents do not survive. Hours passed as they navigated rugged terrain, avoiding patrols and unstable regions where raiders often struck. Kieran realized he had never felt such acute awareness before. Every sound, every shadow, every subtle vibration of the ground seemed magnified under Lariel's quiet guidance. It was exhausting, but he also felt strangely alive. Eventually, they reached a sheltered canyon where the mist gathered in thick, soft clouds. Lariel gestured for him to sit on a smooth rock. She removed her cloak, revealing a delicate armor underneath that shimmered faintly. "The next phase is dangerous," she said. "I must enter the portal to my transport ship alone. The Council's watchers cannot see me within the public transport routes. It is delicate work." Kieran nodded, unsure what to say. "And my role?" "You will wait," she said, her tone firm but not unkind. "Watch, protect, ensure no harm comes from interference until I depart, and stay close enough to respond if needed." She studied him for a long moment. "This is not a request given lightly, human. It is trust." He swallowed, realizing the enormity of her words. Being trusted by a princess of the Arathi was more than honor. It was responsibility that could mean life or death. "I won't fail you," he said quietly, the weight of his promise sinking in. Night deepened. The mist thickened until the world seemed a pale, swirling white. Strange noises echoed through the canyon, creatures alien even to frontier standards. Kieran's hand hovered near his sidearm, his instincts honed for danger, but Lariel remained calm, almost serene. She knelt slightly, whispering strange syllables into the air. The mist began to swirl in a pattern that suggested a protective barrier, subtle yet effective. Kieran realized the princess wasn't just royalty. She was a master of powers humans barely understood. Hours seemed to stretch, yet finally, the faint hum of the transport portal activated nearby. Lariel's eyes shimmered as she stood. "It is time," she said softly. "Remember, do not intervene unless necessary." Kieran nodded. He felt a mix of relief and anxiety, knowing the real danger could come at any moment. Then, as she prepared to step into the portal, she turned back toward him. "Human." "Kieran." Her voice carried an unusual warmth. "Stay by my side tonight, not because of duty, but because you have earned my trust." She reached forward, and for a fleeting moment, the distance between alien and human vanished. Her hand brushed his briefly, a gesture filled with unspoken understanding. Before Kieran could respond, she stepped into the portal. The light enveloped her, and in an instant, she was gone. The canyon seemed impossibly quiet afterward, the echoes of her presence lingering in the mist. Kieran stood alone, heart pounding, realizing the enormity of what had just occurred. He had been trusted by an alien princess, not as a messenger, but as a protector, a companion for a night that could have ended in disaster. As he began the journey back to the colony, a small device in his hand activated. A holographic message from Lariel. Her image appeared, radiant and calm. "You have done well, Kieran." Tonight was not about the message, but about the proof of humanity's worth. Remember, courage and trust can ripple farther than one expects. The hologram faded. Kieran walked in silence, the weight of her words settling in. He realized that simple acts of presence, trust, and protection had shifted something greater than he could have imagined. By dawn, Kieran returned to the outpost. The Arathi fleet had departed, leaving the colony as quiet as it had been before. But the story of what happened would spread, slowly, first through whispers among human operatives, and then into the broader interstellar network. The galaxy would come to understand that humans, too, could inspire trust, courage, and respect, even from the most enigmatic and powerful beings. And though Chiron returned to his ordinary life as a messenger, the night with the Arethi princess, the trust she had placed in him, and her simple words, "Stay by my side tonight," would remain with him forever, a reminder that even the smallest roles could change the course of events on a galactic scale. From that night forward, whispers in the Alliance would grow into legends, a human messenger who stayed by the side of an alien princess, proving that courage, loyalty, and honor could bridge worlds. And somewhere far away, L'Oreal would never forget the mortal who had shown her that even the smallest gestures could matter across the vast expanse of stars.